Good afternoon. This is Stormcastle for Stormcastle's Comics and Collectibles. I'd like to talk to you about an old comic series called Warlock 5. Warlock 5 came out in the 80s. I remember going to a comic store called Starship Excalibur, which no longer exists. It was like 86 or 87. And I remember seeing the covers, which were amazing, on the shelf next to a couple titles like The Dungeoneers, Destroyer Duck. I think there's some 2000 AD, but this is early in time. This is when the Turtles came out, and a series called Geriatric Jujutsu Gerbils and parodies of parodies. But Warlock 5 really, in my mind, had stuck out as a really interesting series. The art on the covers were amazing. Each one almost, like a full painting. It was done by the writers. His name's Gordon Derry. The artist was Den Beauvoir. I believe it's French. So it's probably messed that up. They were amazing. It was unlike other things at the time. Most of the stuff you'd see would be, your traditional Marvel superheroes, your couple Spider-Man books, or your DC with your Superman, Batman, and so forth and so on. But this was always very interesting. A few years ago, or a year and a half ago, I think, maybe 2 years ago, Cullen Bunn, who I'm sure many people are familiar with, managed to get a company called Outland, or talk with a company called Outland, and they got a chance of putting out a continuation story. Outland Studios now owns the rights to Warlock 5, so put a Kickstarter, and he made a book called Warlock 5: The Return. Let's see if anyways, so remembering how much I used to enjoy it, I got that, and the most important thing is they put together a collected version of Warlock 5. The original 13 issues, which honestly you can find on eBay for very reasonable prices, and issue 14 and 15 that had not been released. The story basically it's set in a place called the City, and in an area that's called the Grid. The Grid is basically a connection of the Vaulty multiverses. And there were these 5 people, the 5, called Warlocks, who could shift back and forth with their magic and go from their world across the grid and end up in the city. And in the city, they would have various, conflicts. The 5 Warlocks were, there was Dumadar. Dumadar came from a medieval fantasy setting kind of world. He had an assistant named Morvivid. That's Morbvd, Morbid. And he was more like your evil, like fiery kind of wizard thing. Then there was Argon, who was a cyborg from the far future, in a universe where humanity no longer existed. Then from an area, from the city itself, was Xania. Xania was an anarchist. She was led by a group called the Maniacs. Dealt with undead necromancy. Then there was Tanith. Tanith, who was a good aligned wizard, of theoretically of the light, and she was allied with, or she believed she was allied with Savage Star. Savage Star was actually a dragon, which you see, these are images of them here. Savage Star, Tanith, Warbund, Argon, and Xania. And they had conflicts, of course, because each one is different. They're all these primal elemental beings. And the series was really enjoyable. It was all done in black and white. The artist Den said he chose to airbrushes art to give it a kind of look. And people often thought it was originally done in in color and just made black and white for the series, but it's all done black and white. Each cover art from each issue was incredible, and some of them looked fairly realistic. I mean, this is Zania. I mean, it almost looks like a black and white portrait. It was a really good series. It was enjoyable. I remember, like I said, I remember picking up in the store, and it had different kind of themes than your traditional superhero things. It was fun. What he did for the first few issues was he would do each cover. He would do after the first issue. Each cover were the characters, and according to Den in stories in the forward, that alone helped sell to new people who even though it was in the middle of a run, would see this art. I mean, this is Tanith. I mean, this is incredible looking art that looks very realistic. It was a very enjoyable series. I'm not going to detail all of what happens inside the books. I mean, they're out there. That honestly, it'd bring more fun for most people to go out and hunt down and enjoy. I don't want to ruin any of the surprises in the stories, but this art was phenomenal. The story was great, and unfortunately, this is a small studio, and if not for the more recent, sorry about that, except for not more recent stuff, to many people it would kind of be lost in time. Now, the new series came out, and like I said, it was kickstarted by Outline Press. The art isn't as good. It is in color. It's got some new stories. They have added a new person to be in conflict with. I thought I kind of missed the point of the original series. But again, there wasn't much done originally. And it was good. It was something that was fun. And honestly, you probably could find a copy of the completed book now on their website, I would say. But it was a fun read and really innovative at the time. So, I wanted to bring it out, talk about it. One of the reasons why I did Kickstarter is I like seeing independent books being available on Kickstarter. Some things that might not be seen at a publisher. I've got some of J.M. DeMatteis's De Multiversa. I'll do a video on in the future. But for a moment, I got to think back when I was in high school, a long time ago. My wife just kind of looked at me from the side table, and it was fun. And honestly, if you like really good art and a really intriguing story, you can pick them up on eBay, the original issues, or you can go out and you can find yourself the trade. Might be Outland Entertainment. Maybe find on the website. It was good. It's a great series, and it's really enjoyable. And it almost comes back to a more innocent days of without all that super. Anyways, I thought it was pretty good, and I just wanted to bring it, spotlight something that came a long time ago, and I think people today would enjoy. So, anyways, this is Stormcastle. I'm sorry I rambled. If anybody has read these comics back in the day, mention in the comments. Tell me what you liked, characters who you enjoyed the most. I was very big in D&D, so Savage Tower, the dragon, kind of enjoyed. So, but anyways, you all have a good day, and thank you for watching. Bye.